Are you an agri-food changemaker? We've had some tough years during this pandemic, but now it's time to spread a message of hope. We are searching for inspiring young African entrepreneurs with energy, courage, and an innovative spirit working to transform their fresh ideas into agribusinesses. Is that you? Then enter the 2021 GoGettaz Agripreneur Prize Competition and stand a chance to win $50,000 to launch, grow, or scale your agri-food business. If you produce, process, package, transport, sell, prepare food, or responsibly dispose of food waste, this competition is for you. 2 grand prizes will be awarded to 1 woman and 1 man with the most promising and exciting social or business ventures in Africa. Go to gogettaz.africa and sign up today.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, delegates, go-getters, entrepreneurs, ladies and gentlemen, and to all the millions of young people watching online from across Africa and the world today, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you as the MC for the 3rd year of the GoGettaz Agripreneur Prize Pitch Final Competition 2021. My name is 𝗪𝗲𝗿𝗶𝗽𝗿𝗲 and I'm a choreographer, actress, United Nations IFAD advocate for rural youth. I'm proud to be a citizen of Rwanda and the UK and so excited to be the MC here again today. I can't wait to see what our 14 GoGettaz Agripreneur Prize finalists have in store for us this year. It has been a tough time for everyone as COVID-19 continues to disrupt life across the world. But despite a lot of challenges, these young entrepreneurs who we will hear from in a few minutes stayed focused on finding solutions, pivoting their businesses as needed in order to survive and in some cases even prosper during the COVID crisis. Before the pitch competition begins, I would like to introduce Dixon Naftali, the head of the Generation Africa movement, which hosts the GoGettaz Agripreneur Prize each year. I would like to say a special welcome to the Generation Africa ambassador, Ada Osakwe, who joins me here on our live stage today. Ada is a Nigerian venture capitalist, esteemed agripreneur, and was recently named winner of the Africa Forbes magazine Business Women of the Year 2021. I'm really looking forward to hearing your keynote remarks today, Ada. You're always a great inspiration and a role model for agri-food entrepreneurs in Africa. But first, Dixon, let's go over to you to set the scene and introduce Generation Africa's growing family.
Thank you, Cherie. It's wonderful to see you again this year. Thanks to Ada for being here too. You two are indeed honorary founding sisters of Generation Africa, joining us at this grand finale pitch competition for a 3rd year. This year's 14 GoGettaz Agripreneur Prize finalists rose to the top of more than 3,300 registered applicants from 26 African countries. And in a few minutes, these agripreneurs, 7 men and 7 women between the ages of 18 and 35, will come on stage to deliver their 3-minute pitch as they compete to win the 2 grand prizes of $50,000 to grow their agri-food businesses. The 5 judges who will introduce themselves shortly as well will have about 4 minutes to ask questions to each finalist. It's not a lot of time, but trust me, they're ready. Now it's my honor to introduce a special guest today, Generation Africa Ambassador Ada Osakwe, who has been a key voice of Generation Africa since the early days when it was barely a spark of an idea. Both an investor and an entrepreneur in Africa's agri-food sector, Ada is the founder of Agrowomen Ventures and Juices. Thank you, Ada, for joining us today. Welcome.
Thank you, Dixon. You and your team have taken that spark of an idea that was Generation Africa and built it into the impressive platform that we see today. To think that we're at the 3rd edition of the GoGettaz Pitch Competition already. Keep up the good work. Hello, everyone. On behalf of the ambassadors of Generation Africa, I want to thank you for joining us today. It's your participation that makes this such a wonderful event each time. The past year revealed that Africa has a long way to go to guarantee a more robust, sustainable, and just food system. According to the World Food Programme, the heightened food insecurity caused by the COVID-19 pandemic now threatens 31 million people in Africa, over 100 times greater than in 2019. The supply chain disruptions in the food system were very real. As an agribusiness owner, I experienced firsthand how food prices doubled. And trust me, this was very bad for business. How could we pass these higher costs to customers who themselves were already dealing with reduced levels of income? This is why we must keep working towards building a more robust and resilient food system to guarantee our food security. The pandemic exposed our vulnerabilities, and so now more than ever, things have to change. Without a doubt, young entrepreneurs, many of whom are here today, will be at the forefront of the transformation that we need. And so today is much more than just a pitch competition. For me, it is fast becoming a tradition that celebrates the brilliance, the resilience, the audacity of Africa's young agri-food entrepreneurs. I continue to marvel at your innovative solutions to the problems in our food system. Using technology, you are connecting farmers to markets to reduce food waste. You're also finding ways to use this food waste to drive more sustainable livestock production, tackling climate change in the process. Some of you are shining a bright light on Africa's indigenous foods, and others are plugging the infrastructure gaps we've struggled with for far too long. I'm incredibly proud of you. I want to give a special shout out to the women among you. You're true boss ladies. We know the crisis has disproportionately affected women in business, but you just kept going. Over the past 5 years, I've invested quite a bit of my money in companies owned by young entrepreneurs like you, entrepreneurs that have taken the road less traveled. And all I can say is that you're just simply amazing, doing the tough things, making those sacrifices, all to make a difference. Later this afternoon, the winners among you will be announced by the visionary co-founders of Generation Africa, Sepenica Darko of Yara and Strive Masiyiwa of Econet, along with the president of Agra, Agnes Kalibata. I really cannot wait. Thank you for being such wonderful inspirations to millions of people around the world. Now I'll hand this back to you, Sherry. So lovely to see you again this year.
Thank you so much, Ada. Now, the moment that you are all waiting for is near. But first, let me mention that there are 5 criteria that our 5 judges will be looking out for, all equally weighed. The criteria is 1, innovation, the business model, the social and environmental impact, the market potential and traction, and the founder and management team. These 5 selection criteria have been the same throughout all the different stages of the GoGettaz Agripreneur Prize Competition so far this year. In addition to the 2 grand prizes of $50,000 US, our judges will also select 4 entrepreneurs to receive $2,500 US each for the social, positive, and environmental impact of their venture. So now, without further ado, let me introduce to you our esteemed panel of finalist judges for 2021. In the interest of time, I won't go into any of their impressive biographies, but we will want to say a big thanks to each and all of you for being here today. We know that you've received our deal books and have put a lot of work into preparing for today's session. Ishmael Sunga, the CEO of the Southern African Confederation of Agricultural Unions and one of our Generation Africa ambassadors, who we thank as a judge for the 3rd year of the prize. Hi, Ishmael. Ishmael is joined by Tirieno Muntaga Diarra, Principal IT Solutions Architect at the Africa Development Bank. Barbara Muzata, Communications and Brand Leader for Corteva Agriscience in Africa and the Middle East. Ellen Catherine Rasmussen, EVP for Scalable Enterprises at NovFund, and Paul Brown, Professor of Entrepreneurship, Resident Entrepreneur, and Co-Director of the Master of Business Creation Program at the University of Utah in the USA. What a lineup. Thanks again to all of you for taking the time to join us today. Your mission of selecting only a few winners is not going to be an easy one. I understand that the competition was so tough this year and that the semi-finalist judges decided on a top 14 instead of a top 12. Okay, so with all of that said, the big moment has finally arrived. Our entrepreneurs have been busy preparing and taking part in rigorous pitch training over the past week. 3 minutes and no PowerPoint slides. Those are the only rules. The rest is up to them. The pitch sequence is in alphabetical order by company name. If you want to tweet or comment, go on Facebook. Please use the hashtag #GoGettazAfrica. First up is Emanuel Kungu, co-founder and CEO and Chief Product Officer at agribusinesses in Tanzania.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my presentation. I am Emanuel Kungu. Now, about 4.6 million small household farmers in Tanzania depend on livestock production for food and income. Yet these farmers are suffering from poor income and nutrition. The main reason has been due to high feed costs that most farmers cannot afford, and it is not cost effective. For example, here in Tanzania, 1 ton of feed is sold over $500. Now, our company has come up with a low-cost innovative animal feeds that most farmers can afford, and it is cost-effective. We sell our feed products at $300 per ton. This is 35 to 45% cheaper than the other feeds available on the market. And our feed is of high quality. It increases farm productivity up to 80%. Now, how did we achieve this? We are using low-cost alternative raw materials. We use food waste from food processing industry. So we source the food waste from food vendors, hotels, restaurants, and other food processing areas where we process and produce quality feeds for poultry, pigs, and dairy cows. Now we sell this feed to smallholder farmers, and that is our target customers. We sell our feeds through local feed stores, via social media, and our online store. Now, what makes our business stand out is the ability of using food waste to make full nutritional animal feeds, while others are depending on cereals and soybeans, which are very expensive. Now, we have gained customer traction since we started the commercial production in 2019. We have about 2,000 farmers who are buying from us per year. Ladies and gentlemen, to make this happen, we have an amazing team which has the skills from veterinary medicine, animal science, marketing, finance, and environment, with 3 to 6 years of experience. If we get the prize, we will use the 50% to invest in machinery and transport facility, and the 50% for actually to cover operation costs. And that will be able to increase our production from 10 to 50 tons per month and be able to save about 5,000 farmers per year. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask you join hands with us as we are in the business of taking food waste back into food value chain by making affordable, sustainable, and eco-friendly animal feed that makes farmers more profitable and improve their nutrition. I thank you.
Hi, Emmanuel. Well done on the venture. I read about your business and I was very impressed because it's a relevant business solving some of the challenges that we see in the market with farmers every day, and that is access to reasonably priced input for their farming activities. You started your business in 2016, right?
Yes.
And I also looked at your turnover annually, and it's been 50,000. Is that US dollars every year?
Yes.
Is there a reason why the turnover is not moving beyond that number each year? Especially looking at the fact you've just told us that the potential market sits at 2 million.
Yeah.
I'm also a bit curious to know why, for the past 5 years, you've been just saving, you've saved up to about, I think you said your customers sit at 2,000 farmers buying from you per year. I would like to understand why there's no growth in turnover. Is there any problem you've identified that you can share with us?
Thank you, Barbara. Yes, we started in 2016, but then in the 2016 up to 2018, we had to do a series of tests and research development because it was kind of a new product. So we were required by the government to do research so that we may research and also development and tests to make sure that the product that we bring on the market will be actually safe but of high quality. So we took almost 3 years doing experimentation and tests and research to make sure that we come up with a good product. So we started, actually the commercial production started in 2019. So this is the 3rd year. And last year is where we recorded a revenue of $21,000. And this year, they are half of the year, where we even gone beyond the 21,000 revenue that we got last year. So this shows that this year we are going to make more revenue and the business is actually doing well. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Next up is Constantine Edward, co-founder and managing director of AgriLife in Tanzania.
Hi, I am Constantine Edward, the founder and managing director of AgriLife, an impact company that uses black soldier fly larvae to turn organic waste into nutrient-rich animal feed and organic fertilizer for crop nourishment. This sustainable approach tackles 2 of the most important Tanzania environmental and social problems. 1, our cities do not have enough funds to collect, dispose, and process the 10,000 tons of organic waste generated every single day. 2nd is a high cost of feed for poultry farmers, of which 60% is due to the protein cost. AgriLife is solving both these problems by upcycling this problematic excess of organic waste into nutrient-rich animal feed. It takes black soldier fly just over a week to turn this food waste into a harvestable protein, sustainably, cost-effectively, and with 0 wastage. Every single year, we collect more than 36 tons of organic waste from food growers, distillers, breweries, and open-air markets and feed to our insects. And by doing that, we are reducing more than 100 metric tons of carbon dioxide emission from the environment. Our business model is by selling this dry protein to more than 3.7 million poultry farmers. Since March 2020, we have been able to process more than 50 tons of organic waste, produced more than 15 tons of alternative protein, and generate a revenue of $8,000. Moreover, we sell our protein at an affordable price that reduces farmers' production costs from up to 30 to 40%. With this $50,000 GoGettaz prize, will be able to buy storage and processing equipment and also supplement our operational costs for 1 year. This will allow us to produce more than 36 tons of alternative protein for $36,000 of revenue by year 2. And by year 5, with the help of 40 women and youth in our outgrower model, we will increase our supply and process more than 330 tons of organic waste into more than 120 tons of alternative protein. Also, we will onboard more than 10,000 new customers through direct sales. Currently, we are a team of 4 award-winning co-founders and advisors with more than 6 years of experience in management, economic, finance, agriculture, and insect farming. Lastly, my name is Constantine Edward. We are AgriLife, and we are truly helping to sustainably feed the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Constantine. Thank you for a good speech. And I must say, you're truly addressing one of the key challenges for many farmers on the African continent. So congratulations on that. And I also like a lot of things with your company. One thing being that you use the waste, which is a good idea. And then, of course, a challenge attaching this challenge that farmers are facing. My question is related a bit to the potential, the market potential you see. You know, in the future, how far do you think you can go? What's your ambition when it comes to taking? So that's one question. Your ambition. How big do you think you can grow? And also, where do you see the biggest obstacle to this growth? Is it access to waste? Is it on the production capacity? Or could it also be on the market side, i.e. other farmers accepting to actually buy feed that comes from insects? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, to start with the potential of the market, we operate in a market where the demand of protein is very high, and our target market is poultry farmers. So in Tanzania, we have more than 3.7 million poultry farmers. So we're expecting in 10 years, we'll be able to serve around 10% of that market. That will be 307,000 poultry farmers. So it's a very huge market. And also in terms of the obstacles for now, yes, production capacity is our obstacle because we don't have finance to expand into larger insect breeding facilities that can help us even to produce to 10 tons of alternative protein per month. And also waste. So we know when we grow to be a bigger company and then we produce a lot of alternative protein, we know waste is going to be a problem. But what we are doing now, we are trying to partner with different universities and also breweries because with universities, they produce a lot of organic waste. So for example, now we are sourcing from Mzumbe University. They produce around 200 kilograms of organic waste per day. So if we get 5 universities to help them collecting the waste, that would be a good thing for us. And also breweries, they produce a lot of waste so that after partnering with them, we'll be able to have a raw material enough to produce what we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Constantine. Now please welcome Fily Keita, co-founder and CEO of Agriwomen in Mali.
Good morning. My name is Fily Keita. I'm the founder and CEO of Agrowomen, Agriculture, Women Entrepreneurship. Passionate about community development and women economic empowerment. A 28-year-old young woman started her journey during an holiday in her village, Bamu, in rural areas. She discovered a magical product. She has been inspired by her father, who is a son of farmer, who has been born in farming. Agrowomen is a cereal and oilseed processing startup contributing to women economic empowerment and food security. Do you know that 95% of Malian sesame are exported outside the country, and only 5% of Malian sesame are consumed inside the country? There is a need for value addition. There is a need for food processing. The sesame seed is neglected in Mali. And the contribution of women is 70%. The annual production of sesame seed is 100,000 tons of sesame per year. Despite this fact, the sesame field is neglected, and there are other people on the ground. So we have competitors, such as Olam International, Prosema, Douceur de la Ferme Clégou, and also we have Baramuso. Our competitive advantage is that we use ecological packaging. We use biodegradable packaging. And we focus on making sesame cold press oil. We have a strong partnership with women cooperative farmers. They are our key partners. So we are planning to work with them and to collect sesame through a mobile food bank in rural areas. In 5 years, Agrowomen will be the leading agribusiness enterprise in Africa. In 10 years, we are targeting to employ more than 30% of women and young. So our market track, we have been able to sell more than 500 bottles of sesame seed, sesame oil, And we have been able to sell 600 of sesame snacks, 4 tons of sesame of rice in a year. We are not a mere business. We are a business with a social mission, which is women economic empowerment. We are at the initial stage, but we would like to grow more. We would like to innovate the field by using recycled packaging. We want to recycle packaging in order to use it. We are focusing on sesame seed because there is a big issue that should be fixed. So who are our target clients? So we are targeting people from the middle class. We have a niche market. So our target market people are people working in NGOs, chefs of families, women and men from the age of 25 to 75. And we need the $50,000 in order to have our processing unit, to have working materials such as sesame processing line. And this is impossible without the realization of the 28-year young woman who is in front of you today. And I call you for action. I invite you to join us on the board in order to add our contribution into the development of Africa, of not only Mali, but even in Africa. So thank you.
Brilliant, Fily, brilliant. I was just greeting Fily in the common language back in Mali. I'm from Mali as well.
Okay.
Brilliant, Fily. So, I'm going to have like a quick question to you. I've seen that your annual revenue at the moment is $2,000. I'm not sure actually when did you start processing sesame oil and snacks so far?
So I start the business with making sesame snack. I start with 3 kilos of sesame, and today we are processing 1 ton of sesame per month.
Okay, and when was that actually? How many years back?
So we started in 2019.
2019, all right.
Yes.
So what would you say is the biggest challenge actually? Why after maybe 2 years, your annual revenue is still at maybe $2,000 a year? What would you say is your biggest challenge at the moment?
So my biggest challenge is to improve my production in order to scale up my business. So currently I'm at the initial stage, so there are other products on the market, but there is a big need for sesame processing here in Mali, because there are several businesses who are doing exportation, but it's rare to have processing startups who are adding value here locally.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fily. Next up is Tracy Kimathi, founder and executive manager of Baridi in Kenya.
Okay, so hello, my name is Tracy Kimathi, founder of Baridi, and my innovation journey started 3 years ago when I visited the Mara, a beautiful rangeland in Kenya that houses varying nomadic populations, one being the Maasai. During this trip, I was able to, for the first time, see the social and economic neglect that pastoralists face every single year. Imagine living in a world where 30% of meat produced goes rotten each day. That's an equivalent of losing 100 million cows across Africa. Well, that's the reality of our Kenyan meat traders. They lose over $85 million worth of meat annually due to a problem that could be solved with a resource as abundant as the sun. Our team develops and assembles solar-powered cold rooms, cleverly combining renewable energy and thermal technology to prevent post-slaughter meat loss. We are climate-friendly, we have economic impact, and we're a viable fast mover in the livestock sector. The solar chillers are targeted at urban commercial markets that trade over 2,500 carcasses a week and guarantee a yearly economic benefit of $5,000 for a vendor renting 1 meter cubed of cold space each day. The chillers run on a pay-as-you-store service, charging 10 Kenya shillings per kg per day, and we also plan to introduce a lease-to-buy model to private commercial consumers. One Baridi unit has the potential to create a whopping 190 informal jobs, save up to 1,500 tons of CO2 emissions, and annually preserve over 280,000 kilograms a week. Now, great solutions require even greater teams to implement them. Our technical manager, Hilary, has designed over 30 renewable energy projects across Sub-Sahara, and our commercial manager, Alistair, has aided 40 businesses into the market. We're targeting to launch at least 70 units in countries that rely on livestock production. These are Kenya, Botswana, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. To date, we have received a 3 lease order, negotiated a 300,000 euro seed round, and have secured sufficient capital to install our first unit in Nairobi's largest beef market, Barma. But we want to do much, much more. Team Baridi wishes to use the 50,000 GoGettaz Fund to procure solar thermal equipment in order to implement Unit 2 that is set to launch in Kiamaiko goat market. So I hope you give infrastructural development in the livestock value chain a chance. Asante. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. A very passionate presentation, a compelling presentation as well. And I like the energy and enthusiasm in your presentation. And with that kind of, I think, mentality, attitude, and foresight, you will go places if you maintain that. I just wondered, because I've also listened before to a few pitches that are talking about mobile or even stationary chilling units or solar-powered cooler systems. Also in Kenya, maybe in other parts of Africa. Yeah. My simple question is to what extent have you really explored the experiences so far undertaken or gathered by others, and how are they informing the way that you plan to move ahead? I'm pretty sure that you might have done that. That's the first question. The second question really is too about CO2 emissions and the mitigation of that. And there's a lot of talk around carbon farming, around harvesting carbon and getting value out of it. would that be within the scope of what you might want to venture into in the near future? Over.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your questions. Yes, so I'll start with the last one. Yes, carbon credit is something that we're really looking into. So within our solar chillers, actually, we have something called an asset management platform that gathers information on solar generation, battery generation, and so forth. And we collect that data and hope to sell it or utilize the information as carbon credit. So we're definitely looking into that type of information. On our competitive advantage, I think that's what you were asking. So most competitors within the field, of course, a solar chiller innovation is quite broad, but we're looking specifically into the livestock value chain, as you can see here. So we're looking specifically for goat, chicken, and beef. And again, one other thing about putting together a kit to chill specifically livestock is it's a lot more technically difficult than tomatoes and potatoes. We literally have to, defy gravity by lifting the meat carcasses up and chilling them. So technologically, we have a lot more to assemble a kit. And essentially, we're looking more so into the livestock value chain. And again, our digital asset management platforms also come in where we combine software and hardware to make this, great innovation. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Tracy. Now let's welcome Michael Ogundare, co-founder and CEO of Crop to Cash in Nigeria.
Good morning, everyone. For smallholder farmers in Nigeria, increasing their productivity and income is tied to the amount of credit they can access easily. A lack of transaction and performance data, a fragmented value chain, and inefficient payment systems are major roadblocks that affect farmers' access to credit. Less than 4% of total bank lending in Nigeria has gone into the agriculture sector, while only 7% of farmers in Nigeria have access to credit. We have more farmers in Nigeria than the entire population of Canada, 38 million of them. For example, a couple of years ago, we met Adamu, a 50-year-old farmer that has been practicing agriculture for the past 30 years. That's his life now. But 30 years of information only exists in his head because it doesn't have the right systems in place that captures his activities, especially financial, that can lead to him accessing credit from banks. Now, little access to credit means that farmers will not get the right agricultural inputs that will boost their harvest, leading to them producing less and earning even less. At Crop to Cash, our mission is to make affordable credit accessible to smaller farmers to improve their productivity and income. What we're doing with Adamu and 30,000 other farmers in Nigeria is to simplify their access to agricultural services and financial services via USSD. Opening a bank account and finding the best inputs and services like insurance, agro inputs, and climate advisory is something that can now be done on a feature phone such as this. And since I have been speaking, a farmer would have started and completed their registration. It's that easy, and that's why we're better than our competitors. We have unlocked just under $500,000 in credit for farmers, and we've developed partnerships along the value chain and made access to insurance and tractors all available via USSD. And to make all of this possible, we have raised $350,000 in pre-seed financing from angel investors. The Crop to Cash wallet decentralizes access to agro inputs and services that would have been hard for farmers to find during the COVID-19 pandemic. We make approximately 5% of the credit unlocked through commissions from our input provider partners, and we've made just over $120,000 in revenue so far. We're projecting to make another $150,000 by the end of 2021, and in the next 5 years, we have the ambition to unlock $2 billion in credit for farmers. My co-founder, has a background in agricultural economics and extension and rural development. He's a commercial farmer with over a decade of experience growing crops. My other co-founder, Seyi, has a background in agronomy and crop science and understands what farmers need to have a successful season. My background is in computer science, and I have published papers in computer science and telecommunications journals on how USSD can unlock credit for farmers. Now, we see the work we do at Crop to Cash as something that can create a generational shift in how poverty, hunger, and climate risks are tackled. Making access to credit easier for farmers will improve their productivity and income. This is income that can go into creating better lives for the farmers, better education for their children, and better healthcare for their communities. That's the future we are building. And if we win the $50,000 GoGettaz prize, we can scale our reach to 50,000 farmers by the end of 2021 and unlock $2 million in credit for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. I have two questions for you. One of them is why ag-specific credit? In other words, a lot of people I'm sure are offering loans, microfinance, other sources of credit. Why would farmers go to an ag-specific credit provider? That's my first question. My second question is, can you just give us a couple of examples of exactly how your customers are using the credit they're receiving from you and what they're doing with it, and how you're filling a gap that your competitors aren't filling? Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the question, Paul. So the reason why smaller farmers come to us for ag-specific credits is because if they go to other lenders, which is still something very hard for them to do, they just get some sort of, they just get the money from them, but they don't get they don't have that easy access to the inputs and the services. So it's like, I give you $1,000 to grow crops on your farm, but then you're in a rural community where you can't even access insurance, you can't access tractors, you can't access the right fertilizer and the right seeds. So you just have this $1,000 and somebody is just going to come and fleece you off of your money, and then you won't still be able to be as productive as possible. So with us, we've integrated, we've partnered with different input providers along the value chain to ensure that once farmers get credit, can easily get access to all of these services without needing to worry about where they will come from. And that answer ties to your second question, which shows pretty much just how we are better than our competitors. So our competitors that just provide ordinary credit to farmers, that's one of the ways that we're better than them. And for those that are actually specifically working on providing credit for farmers, on their own side, their source of credit is through crowdfunding. So it makes it very hard for them to scale to a large number really quickly. So it's like, to raise $1,000 to lend to you, they would need to speak to 3 people. But for me, through Crop to Cash to lend to you, all I need to do is to speak to one bank. And one bank can provide as much credit to as many farmers as possible than the other approach. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Next to pitch is Sepenica Darko, founder and team leader of FarmerTribe Company Limited in Ghana.
Thank you very much. Research has shown that smallholder farmers can increase their crop yield by 10% when they plant with hybrid seed and harvest 20% more with timely access and application of fertilizer. Smallholder farmers in last-mile communities struggle to access agricultural inputs such as seed and fertilizer. Due to poor road network and seasonal floods, many smallholder farmers must travel long distance to purchase input, increasing their cost of production by up to 30%, whilst reducing their productivity because they are unable to purchase input in timely manner. At FarmerTribe, we are helping smallholder farmers in these communities increase their productivity and reduce their cost of production by providing them with timely access to fertilizer, seed, crop protection products, and agrochemicals. FarmerTribe procures seed, fertilizer, crop protection products from their manufacturers and retail to our farmers at a margin. Through our farm school, we are training and providing technical support to farmers during production. We also help farmers access premium markets after harvesting. The farmers we work with have been able to increase their yield by up to 65% and income by 30%. FarmerTribe was founded in 2018 and we are growing rapidly. Currently, we serve 7,000 smallholder farmers in 69 communities in northern Ghana. In 2020, we generated over $350,000 in revenue. We have created 100 jobs directly. The team consists of 10 full-time staff, 72 seasonal workers, and 32 community input agents, whom most of them are youth and women. Leading the team is me, Sepenica Darko, with a degree in agribusiness management and finance. After 8 years of working with private companies and non-government organizations in Ghana's agriculture sector, I founded FarmerTribe. Currently, we are developing the FarmerTribe platform that will enable farmers purchase input, make payment, and have it delivered conveniently to them. With a 50,000 GoGettaz Prize Fund, will enable us to complete and launch this platform, giving access to agricultural input to 10,000 smallholder farmers and train 3,000 smallholder farmers. We also plan to construct a 100 metric ton warehouse and purchase a delivery truck for timely delivery of agricultural input to our farmers. 80% of food are produced by smallholder farmers. Therefore, for a strong food system, I believe we must increase crop yield harvested by smallholder farmers by providing them timely access to affordable agricultural inputs. That's our mission at FarmerTribe. Thank you.
Hi, Sepenica. Well done. I'm cheering for you as a fellow woman in agriculture, and especially in Ghana, where we see many areas where the smallholder farmers need help. I was listening to your pitch, and you're talking about the fact that you made 350,000 in revenue. Is it this year or the past year?
2020.
Perfect.
Yes, please.
And then I heard you say that you use the prize money. You've put this in the application as well, to buy a truck and build a warehouse. My question is, are you making profits? Did you make a profit in 2020?
Yes, please.
And
yes, please.
And I'm curious to know why you haven't done what you would need the $50,000 US for, or because those are critical requirements for your business. Do you have to wait for 50,000? And that's why I'm asking if you are making a profit from your operations.
Thank you for the question. So in 2020, our revenue was over $350,000 with 16% as our profit margin. We started by purchasing a 50 metric ton truck that will help in conveying our input from our manufacturers. So currently we have purchased a truck, but the service is not enough because we need more investment in that area.
Thank you, Sepenica. Now please welcome Baraka Chijenga, founder and managing director of Kilimo Fresh Foods Africa Limited in Tanzania. Looks like there's a lot of talent coming from Tanzania today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Our story began in 2015 when my co-founder Justice and I graduated from the university and decided to go on a journey into something we're both passionate about, which is agriculture. We met very interesting people like Julius, a man we found sitting down on his field and sobbing, not because he lost a family member, but because more than half of his crops was wasted. Sitting there on the field, rotting as we were talking, and this thing has been happening for 22 straight years. It was a very powerful, moving moment for us to sit there and watch an elderly man sobbing uncontrollably. This situation happened to so many other smallholder farmers in Tanzania, where more than half of the crop they produce is wasted due to factors such as lack of proper storage facilities, poor transport and handling, as well as limited access to the market. Food waste accounts for 7 billion, and it affects more than 67% of the workforce employed by the agriculture sector in Tanzania. It was because of this problem that in 2018, we founded Kilimo Fresh, a social enterprise that sources produce from smallholder farmers and delivers to B2B and B2C customers in urban areas. We leverage mobile technology to give farmers stable prices as well as direct access to the market for their crops. So how does this work? We have an online platform where consumers can log in, see available product at their prices, they can place order and schedule delivery. Then Kilimo Fresh will source the produce from smallholder farmers in rural areas, add value through cleaning, sorting, and packaging, and deliver to customers preferred. We're able to increase margin paid to smallholder farmers by 20%. We are able to decrease food waste by 85%. And on top of that, we help our customers save 15% every time they buy from us. We have been operating for over 2 years now, and we're currently recording 17,000 of monthly revenue, working with more than 30 B2B customers, and we've been supporting more than 300 smallholder farmers, out of which 30% are with 50,000 grants, integrating existing web platform with USSD and offline SMS for informal vendors and smallholder farmers. This investment will help us to reach new 750 smallholder farmers, out of which 40% will be women. These farmers will be given marketing opportunities, which will increase their income by 60%, increase the production by 5 acres, and increase the harvest by 4 times. Other parts of the funds will be used to enhance the storage and logistical aspect of the business so as to accommodate the new value from the smallholder farmers. And on top of that, deliver goods on a timely manner. In this view, today I would like to welcome you all to join us because we have willing farmers and willing customers, and we are ready to innovate. Because happy farmers and quality produce is a big opportunity in Tanzania. It begins with me and you, right here, right now. Thank you so much.
Just a quick one. I can see that you used to be the CEO of Eliminex, and that seemed to be also doing kind of the same thing, or not exactly. What have you learned from that experience? You know, how different it is from your new venture?
Thank you so much, Baraka. So basically, Eliminex was our first company that I founded with my partner. Immediately after university, we went to do farming. We were growing tomatoes, capsicums, and watermelons, and we were selling to middlemen. So after doing this for over 3-4 years, and we realized there are so many challenges in the value chain because we're also getting very low margins and there's so much food waste. And during this time is when we had an opportunity to meet Julius as well. This is the journey that I was talking about. So with Eliminex, it was just basically growing the produce and selling to middlemen. And then after we did this, we stopped for some time and do a research to realize why are we having so many challenges? Is there a way we can innovate in this supply chain and do something better? So after realizing the potential in the market, we realized the middlemen are paying the farmers very low and a lot of money is wasted in between through food waste. And because of that, we came up with Kilimo Fresh to help ourselves and other smallholder farmers that we were working with before to get over this problem. And currently, I can say most of these farmers, when we found them, they are making only 350 USD per harvest. And currently, they're making 1,750 per harvest as a result of improvement in the supply chain that we have introduced.
Thank you, Baraka. Next up is Evangelista Chekera, founder and lead innovator at Passion Poultry, hailing from Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much. So 68% of the chicken we consume in Zimbabwe is produced by small-scale poultry producers. According to the Zimbabwe Poultry Association, there are approximately 250,000 of these. However, they experience high chick mortality rate due to lack of proper brooding equipment, as well as erratic power cuts. Hello, my name is Evangelista Chekera, and I'm the founder of Passion Poultry. So I had a similar challenge, as I would lose approximately 35% of my chicks per batch. Hence, in 2017, we came up with the award-winning chick brooding device. It is made up of the brooder ring that confines the chicks in a specific area so that they do not run away from the heat source. There's the heater that is powered by the biomass briquette, which is a green alternative to charcoal and is made up of agricultural waste. There's the heat reflector that regulates heat within the brooding area, making it conducive for the chicks to grow well. Of the 17,500 we've raised as a company, 8,500 came from the components of the brooding device. We sold this device through social media platforms, poultry feed distributors, as well as poultry equipment distributors. With the assistance of organizations like the Zimbabwe Farmers Union, we've managed to attend agricultural shows. In 2019, the device was granted a patent by a report. It was also endorsed by the poultry unit under the Ministry of Agriculture. We're also featured in a couple of publications, for example, the Chinese Academy of Engineering. My team is made up of 7 consistent workers in sales, administration, and production. We're also backed up by a 3-member board of advisors in business development, accounting, HR, and law. According to Sustainable Agriculture Technologies, there are approximately 80,000 small-scale poultry producers in Harare and surrounding areas. Hence, would like to start working with at least 3,000 of these farmers. Would like to set up a production facility with $25,000 US, 15,000 will use it as working capital, and then 10,000 as logistics. Help us make a significant impact within the food industry and create employment for at least 150 youth in rural Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Evangelista. Very brilliant presentation. Actually, tell me a little bit about some of the challenges you had to overcome for the first years of your, selling, commercial sellings. What happened actually, and how do you intend to overcome those challenges? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question. So initially, the first couple of years, my background is in psychology, and I realized I moved to engineering. So my major challenge was that I had to learn how production was done, the type of equipment I needed to use, and the people I had to work with. So it was a learning curve for me, especially the first few years. And then another challenge was that I was quick to want to start partnering with a large organization, especially large corporates like poultry feed companies. And I didn't have the muscle to work with them. Hence, in the process, some of them wanted to own the innovation, and that I was the one who brought in the innovation. So in the end, I had to pull out the equipment from their shops and start working on the IP. And then I had to put back the equipment in the shops when I actually got the IP. So that was actually one of the challenges that I faced, because I didn't have the proper documentation that I owned the innovation.
Just additional question from my side. So I understand you had an annual revenue of $3,400. I assume that might have been in 2020. And then you say that you expect to be break even within a year. So what does then the numbers look like for you to go break even? Because that's not a very big number. So I was just wondering if you talk a bit about the financials.
Okay, thank you very much. So the 3,400 is actually split over the past 5 years. Yes. And for me to make a break even, I would need to produce more equipment for the small scale farmers. Currently, we're having a challenge of accessing the raw material in order for us to get the final product out there. So I would actually require, for raw material, actually require something like 10,000 so that we can break even within a year. Thank you.
Thank you, Evangelista. Please welcome Diana Orembe, co-founder and CEO of NovFeed, who is also from Tanzania. Wow.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Diana Orembe. I am a microbiologist by profession, the founder and CEO of NovFeed. We are a biotechnology company based in Tanzania. NovFeed is an inspiration from my own story. I was born and raised by my uncle Steve, a fish farmer who incurred loss for decades due to the high price of the fish food. You can imagine 76% of fish farmers in Tanzania are like my Uncle Steve. During my university life, I find out that protein is the major key challenge that constitutes the high price of the feed, as it accounts for over 70% of the fish food total cost. And that's how NovFeed was born. What we do, we collected the organic waste that would otherwise go to the dump site. We add a consortium of bacteria. We put these inputs into a proprietary biology and equipment system. And through the bacteria fermentation process, we end up with a really high performance protein ingredient for feed, notably aquaculture, in just 48 hours. Our product has that exactly 71% of a protein ingredient, of a dry weight protein and liquid biofertilizer as a byproduct. Our technology is a patent pending, and we are patenting 3 areas of our business. One is a consortium of bacteria that we have discovered with the ability to degrade waste as it grows into a bigger protein biomass. And second is the waste optimization technology to make the nutrients on waste available for the bacteria growth. And the third one is the bacteria storage technology to make the bacteria inactive and unharmful outside the waste and active when applied on the waste. Our business model is a B2B. We produce and sell our protein to the animal feed manufacturers for $1,000 per ton, giving us 35% of a profit margin. And so far, we have already spoke to 30 animal feed manufacturers with a demand range on average of 30 to 1,000 metallic tons of protein per month. 6 of them showed interest, and we signed 1 contract to supply 5 tons of protein per month. We have an amazing team with the right mix of skills, ranging from a biotech scientist to, engineers, economists, and fish nutritionists. Together, we reimagine the future of protein. And we have been funded and supported by the World Food Program on our R&D and product development. And we have also been endorsed by MIT and University of Dar es Salaam. So today, winning the $50,000 on prize will help us to expand to a mid-sized production facility. This will enable us to increase our production to 20 tons of protein per month, meaning we'll be able to upcycle 80 tons of organic waste every month and reduce greenhouse gases emission. Along the way, creating employment opportunity to the youths and women, but also it will help the fish farmers to cut their production cost by 30% and ultimately increase the fish as a healthy protein diet, as an available healthy protein diet to the low and middle income population. So as we always say, if fish will feed the Africans, we NovFeed will feed the fish. Thank you so much. Help us to help aquaculture industry to grow sustainably.
Thanks, Diana, for that presentation. It strikes me as a very scientific area, one that could also be subject to regulatory compliance of a scientific nature and also about the food quality, quality for food that is going to the livestock or the animals. I just wondered whether you have all those angles taken care of and how actually you are getting the certification that is required to enable that to happen at scale. The moment it goes much more at scale, then the compliance issues become very pertinent. Could you just talk a little bit around that, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ishmael. Actually, when we were coming up with this idea and working on it, one of the biggest challenge was to think about how are we going to create a product that will produce healthy fish in the end of the day, and how will we provide a product that meets the customer's expectation. So when we started working on this, we involved a number of qualified biotech scientists, as well as are highly regarded as a research institutions here in Tanzania and outside. And what we were doing was to make sure that at the end of the day, we come up with a product that is palatable, nutritious, advantageous, and produce a healthy fish. And the most important thing for a healthy fish that we were taking a look at on it was a fish that has high omega-3 fatty acid. That is very important nutrient for brain development. But also we have worked very close with the Tanzania Veterinary Laboratory here in Tanzania, and together with the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries in Tanzania and Aquaculture Department in Dar es Salaam to ensure that we come up with something that has all what is needed to produce a healthy fish. So we already have all the regulatory compliance on the place.
Thank you, Diana. And now we have 𝗔𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗽𝗍𝗄 Orembe, founder and CEO of Phronesis Foods Nigeria Limited in Nigeria.
Good morning, judges. My name is 𝗔𝗵𝗿𝗍𝗄. I am the founder of Phronesis Foods, a food processing and packaging company in Lagos, Nigeria. In 2016, I was researching business opportunities that would help create jobs for the women in the rural communities to lift them off poverty. It dawned on me that ukwa, a food product my mother had retailed for more than 30 years, had a lot of market gaps. Ukwa, known as breadfruit in English, is a nutritious local food that has the potential to play as both food and medicine. The challenge is it is not readily available. Hence, we began creating unique solutions. First, to create a year-round availability, we designed a first-of-its-kind storage process by dehydrating fresh ukwa seeds and storing them in large volumes. And we are leveraging blockchain technology to trace the entire processing chain. By this, we created over 100 jobs for these women in the rural communities while still reducing child labor by introducing scholarship opportunities to take their children off the farm and back to school. Secondly, by using a dehydrating machine, we are eliminating the presence of microorganisms like bacteria and fungi while still retaining the taste and nutrition in our products, extending the shelf life, contributing to food safety and sustainability. Thirdly, we began to create new food product lines from ukwa, like coated ukwa snack, ukwa poundo, ukwa smoothie, ukwa flour. And we are partnering with healthcare workers in the communities, introducing our products to patients with diabetes and high blood pressure. With our B2B and B2C, we have a growing presence in Australia, in Boston, in London, in Scotland, and in 6 major states across Nigeria. This, of course, is made possible by members of our team, like Emeka, who has over 12 years of experience in retail and wholesale, and Jane, who has over 9 years of experience in corporate business structure. One of Lolade with over 15 years of experience in food processing, and of course, Yemi, with over 9 years of experience in the banking sector. With myself, of course, with over 12 years of experience in ukwa processing. With a $50,000, we would be able to structure smaller units of production plants in the rural communities where we are sourcing raw materials from. We would purchase 8 units of dehydrating machine, milling machine, industrial packaging machine, and of course, a vehicle for collation of our raw materials, increasing the number of jobs in these communities from over 110 to at least 100 more in each of the 9 communities, while still increasing women empowerment programs and taking away child labor. Our goal is simple: to introduce 3,000 jobs in 5 years while contributing to food storage, food safety, and sustainability. Thank you.
𝗔𝗔, my question is sort of a strategic one. In your materials, you say that you're operating in Australia, Ghana, Nigeria, the UK, and the US. And yet your sales are not huge, as Barbara pointed out. I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying they're not huge. And I just wonder strategically, it would seem to me very difficult to maintain sales and distributions systems in all of those places. And I wonder, why did you decide to go so broadly rather than really nailing this in a single geographic area and then expanding once you kind of figured that out?
Thank you very much, Paul. First of all, when we kicked off, one of the challenges we had was having to get people who could easily maybe travel to their villages to get ukwa to buy. And we understood, at a point, we understood that it seemed like larger part of those who were buying when we kicked off were those who had zero access to the product, which were international market. So the presence I said that we have in these countries, remember I said in my pitch that it's a growing presence. In Boston, in Scotland, and in London, these are basically retail sales. But we got into Australia last year, which currently is, if we're doing 30% of export market, Australia is doing more than 50 of that as a distributor, and she's distributing to 4 retail stores. So that could only be reflected in our 2020 sales, because that's when we got it. The rest of them were basically retail sales, and they are barely not distributing to retail stores. So we began to sell, we began to have more responses from those in the international market, because they didn't have access to the product than those down here, up until we began creating new food product lines.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chichi. Now let's welcome Nana 𝗪ci𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗃𝗂, the founder and logistics and finance lead Prosect Feed in Ghana.
So hello, my name is Nana 𝗪ci𝗵𝗃𝗂, co-founder of Prosect Feed in charge of logistics and finance. During my market research in 2019, I came across a passionate poultry farmer with 30 years of experience, Auntie Beatrice. She has 2 sons, her dependents, Fee, who wants to be a pilot, and Pa, who says he wants to be an engineer just like me. But recently, her margins have been dipping, which have been crippling her ability to take care of her family. She's tried everything from changing feeds to formulating her own feed, on a bit to reduce her feed cost, which makes up 80% of her production cost. She's worried she might not be able to support her children to achieve their dreams. Women make up 70% of poultry farmers in Ghana, and Auntie Beatrice's case isn't different from what thousands of families are going through. High feed cost is crippling the local poultry industry. Prosect Feed uses a unique waste formulation to bioconvert organic waste in 7 days into a low-cost, high-quality protein for poultry farmers, giving them cost savings of 30%, and also generates an organic fertilizer for vegetable farmers, which is a byproduct of our production process, generating 0 waste in the process. With a 58% crude protein, only beaten by fish meal, we're able to offer farmers quality assurance, cost leadership, and also consistency, which makes us stand out among our competitors. But we've moved away from just lowering feed costs and decreasing carbon footprint to focusing on one of the key cornerstones of our business, our clients. Our Outgrower program allows us to focus on women-led farms, helps us provide capacity building training for farmers, allows us to source large volumes of waste, and allows farmers to make additional income from sourcing of their waste, also providing opportunities for tricycle operators. Currently, the Outgrower program has 15 outgrowers who can make about $100 a month, with the capacity to expand the program as our scale increases. We're targeting local poultry farmers within the Greater Accra region, giving us a target market of about $6 million, which we sell through B2B, B2C, and also B2G. We recently finished the R&D stage, selling a ton of our product. And we currently have a waiting list of about 6 farmer-based organizations, equivalent to about 400 clients. Prosect Feed has strategic partnerships with the National Service Secretariats, who have pledged to buy $17,000 worth of our feed, and also the Ghana Poultry Project, who have an extensive database of poultry farmers. We're also in talks with Trial Nutrition on sourcing additional agri-inputs to add to our product to make it a full-blown feed, giving us product security. Currently, we scale to 3 tons of laving meal per cycle, where we utilize 700 tons of organic waste annually. And with a $50,000 investment, we're looking to expand our Outgrower program by bringing on 45 more farmers, integrating tech and IoT into our production process, and also building a commercial facility where we'll be able to convert 3,000 tons of organic waste annually, producing 500 tons of laving meal, and also generating revenues of $350,000. Our team is composed of 4 co-founders with combined experience of 30 years, 3 engineers and a marketer. We have a seasoned poultry expert and also an animal nutritionist from CSIR, and also an entomologist from CSIR. We are backed by the Customers Innovation Center, who give us technical backstop in financial strategy and also market linkages. We at Prosect Feed aim to contribute to the SDGs of no poverty, 0 hunger, climate action, by focusing on the 3 P's of sustainability: people, profit, planet. Thank you, and thank you very much for your questions.
Great and innovative solution that you have there. My question is, what are the challenges you've encountered in the uptake of your product? Has it been easy to sell to that market or for farmers to adopt your products?
Okay, so in terms of marketing process, at the initial stages, we thought that might be a challenge, but we realized that farmers are already privy to the use of insect meal in feeding poultry, because they're used to seeing their birds already eating worms and also eating other insects in addition to their feed. So when we approach the farmers and we show them our products, because the problem of high feed cost is something that is nationwide spread, farmers understand that, okay, we have a quality product, we have the quality product, and the product is also affordable. But right now, our main challenge has always been in terms of scale. They need consistency. They don't want to buy a product halfway, and maybe it turns out later we cannot provide it. So currently our issue is the funds to scale, where we'll be able to provide consistently our product to sell to the farmers. But in terms of farmer adoption, so far it's been almost perfect. It's been very, very positive.
Thank you, Nana. Our next competitor to pitch today is Gabriel Eze, co-founder and COO of Rural Farmers Hub in Nigeria.
Did you know that small farmers today are producing less food than they did 30 years ago? This is shocking, especially when you consider that they have steadily expanded the size of their farms. For context, the average yield for grain in Africa is less than half of global average, where farmers can sell at half the market price and still make a profit. Yes, I know this personally because I come from a farming background, and I've watched as neighbors from my home village and countless other farmers across the continent have struggled to make ends meet. Take a moment to imagine 300 million faces. Farmers who, despite playing such an important role, are not able to save money and secure their job. Among other reasons, the primary cause is a widespread use of legacy farming practice that is not backed by data, further compounded by a lack of resilience to climate change. At Rural Farmers Hub, we are returning farmers to profitability through our crop intelligence solution called Capture, which uses big data to provide modern data-driven farming to smallholders with insights on soil composition and quality, weather and climate forecasts, crop suitability and potential revenue, precise fertilization map, and crop health diagnosis. Farmers now have a smart guide for optimal decision-making, personalized and in real time, even accessible via SMS, giving crops exactly what it needs and saving up to 20% in costs by minimizing waste. We are helping farmers to increase productivity by up to 7 tons per hectare, with their income rising up to 80%. And given these overwhelming results, you can understand why our customers are happy to pay our subscription fee of $7 per hectare per month, or $28 per hectare for a season. Capture is used by over 10,000 farmers, and since 2019, our revenue is growing at 1,000% year on year. We play in a $5 billion global market that is forecasted to grow 3x by 2027. The addressable market size for Nigeria is over $200 million, where about 5 billion farmers exist in our partner ecosystem who would use and pay for our services. Our team of 15 is made up of professionals with relevant experiences in the science and business of agriculture. If awarded this prize money, we can lead another 10,000 farmers into prosperity, and it actually pays for itself in the first farming season. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. I think this is very interesting, and then you talk really to my heart. I used to work in Yara and as a fertilizer company, and also when I was there, we worked a lot on these type of solutions. So my questions are twofold. So one is understanding the satellite data. So who is your provider of the satellite data, and what kind of precise information can you actually get about the soil as such from satellite data? So that's one question. And understanding more about the complexity of actually the mega data and how that is actually then analyzed and what that takes. So that's one. And the other one is, well, then the farmers have all these fantastic advice. How do they then get access to the input that they are recommended to use? Is it so that it's for sure that each farmer actually have a retail store just down the road that they can actually go to and to get the input that you recommend, or how does that work? So it's kind of twofold, understanding more about the technology, the satellite, the platform, the complexity, how that is built up, and second, what to do with the advice that they are given. Do they have readily available what their recommendations you give? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. I think it's very technical, but I'll try to address it. We source our data from the ESA, European Space Agency. It's publicly available. It has more repeat rate and has more coverage across the world. So we get it from there, given that we don't have local capacity for that. In terms of confidence level, last year, 2 organizations, one private and one government, had tested our technology to see how it matches with ground truth, and also to see if the things we promise are true. And results that came out of that pilot was very successful, which had also led us to secure grants from 𝗪ci𝗺𝗲 through the USAID Feed the Future project. And we're expanding to new states, where, to your second question, we will now be providing a much more inclusive farmer services. So that we'll have to bring in input vendors into our hub. We plan to call it Rural Farmers Hub, then name of village, where farmers can walk in, and it will be their one-stop shop for everything. So both advisory and also the input will be available in the village from the same place.
Thank you, Gabriel. Next up is Jolenta Joseph, co-founder and managing director and nutritionist at Sanavita Company Limited in Tanzania.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jolenta Joseph. I'm a managing director, Sanavita Company Limited. In Tanzania, the population is growing, and currently the projection is around 60 million. So with this population, 45% of women pregnant and lactating are suffering from high rates of iron deficiency anemia, and 3% of the children are suffering from vitamin A deficiency. And this in total is leading to under 5 standing. So Sanavita came up with an innovation of addressing this malnutrition through agribusiness engagement using staple crops. We are producing, adding value, and processing already fresh sweet potatoes, which is rich in beta-carotene, provitamin A maize, rich in beta-carotene, and high iron and zinc beans, rich in iron and zinc, into a blended flour for porridge and healthy snacks, that is biscuit, which is good for both pregnant and lactating women and everybody. And we are reaching these customers through sales in the local channels, which is a local shop, local supermarkets, and local supermarkets and local shops. So Sanavita is unique in doing this business. Why we are unique is because, first, we are engaging smallholder farmers to produce, whereby we are working with around 1,000 farmers, and we do train them on good agricultural practices with the ready market, hence our products are affordable. Secondly, we are drying our orange fresh sweet potatoes and all the ingredients using solar dryer, hence our products are of high quality with high retention of beta-carotene. Third, we are creating awareness on the health benefit of these products through different ways, that is a local media, social media, and in the clinics. Fourth, Sanavita is having a motivated team. I'm a nutritionist, and by training with over 7 years experience in working with different nutrition programs. We have a business manager with around 10 years experience in working with different financial institutions, and we have also agronomists in the team with 5 years experience working with the smallholder farmers. Sanavita is a growing company, and we are looking forward to expand our business, and we will use this fund for us to invest in establishing our own factory that will include the buildings, installation of solar dryer, marketing and promotion, and also recruiting more farmers for us to have high quality and the quantity of our raw materials. So kindly join our hands so that we can reach out to more pregnant and lactating women in Tanzania. Thank you.
Jolenta, do you find that you have to convince users of your product that they need it. Sometimes there's just natural demand for a product. People want it and you supply it. And sometimes there's a two-step sales process where you actually have to convince the user that they have a problem they may not be fully aware of. Do you find that you're having to do that with SanaVita?
Thank you so much, Paul. That is why I said, we are doing awareness creation in the clinics, reaching direct our customers, and through the conversation on the health benefit of our products, you find most of the customers are convinced and going to these staple crops because these are the crops they are usually producing. The issue is just like they are producing the normal ones, which are not biofortified. So after knowing the importance of these crops, are switching to these crops. Some are going to the production and some are going to use our products.
Let's imagine that you get very big. You get $1 million US dollars in sales from where you are now. How do you think you get from where you are now to something of that scale? What needs to happen for you to increase your sales, say, 10 or 20 times? I know that's very aggressive, but I'm just interested in hearing how you think about that.
Thank you very much, Paul. The first thing, as I said, we are currently producing our products in an incubation center. So we are sharing the facilities. So if SanaVita can invest or can get the investment for us to have our own factory, that will be quickly easy because we will be in the position to produce enough. We can do more awareness campaigns and also more investing in the marketing and promotion because our products are really good and we always see more customers are loving our products. So if we do more promotion, having capacity to supply, reach more farmers for us to produce enough, then that will be easier because currently our margin is ranging from 18% to 30% because we are also supplying the fresh fruits to the market. So diversifying such products and then doing other also product development as we will be having our own factory, that can lead us to maximize or to reach to that point.
Thank you so much, Jolenta. Our final pitch competitor today is Nshimiyimana Alexandre, co-founder of Sanit Wing Limited in Rwanda. And I'm not being biased, but come on, Rwanda!
Good afternoon once again. My name is Nshimiyimana Alexandre. I am an entrepreneur from Rwanda. And we do avocado processing into oils and cosmetics. Our company has a vision of becoming the leading producer of basic quality avocado byproducts and avocado products in Africa. Judges, when I ask people to guess my age based on my look, they always get it 5 years younger than I am. The reason being that my skin it looks younger, it's spotless and flawless, and so that's why they always get it younger. And again, it's natural. So the magic lies within the journey that I'm about to walk you through. 5 years ago, I realized that Rwanda was spending about $35 million US dollars to import cosmetics. And again, Rwanda was importing 125 metric tons of cooking oil. And again, Rwanda was ranked third in Africa in avocado production. But when I look at the numbers, less than 1% was being exported, which was Hass and quality. Where did the rest of the varieties go? 60% of these varieties, I'm talking about 100,041 metric tons were being wasted in the field because avocado could not be stored for over 2 days once they arrive. So I said, with this fruit, which is an avocado, I can convert it into oil, and I can convert it into the soap, and I can convert it into the cosmetic, which is responsible for my look, and I can convert it into the hair care product, which I target women. And we have solved more than not only just those problems, but we have planted more than 2 million trees for now. And when you look at the rate which East Africa is being deforested, 90% of East African forests are being cut. 80% of West African forests are being cut, and the population is increasing. Judges, with our capacity, we can only produce 3,500 liters of oil per month. And we can only increase that when we have this award. If you give us this award, we can increase our production from 3,500 liters to 1,000 liters of oil every day, making $2 million in sales per year. That's how much you can impact. And you can create 50 decent jobs in 1 year. And more so, we can plant 700,000 trees every year. And our waste product is an animal feed, so which we give farmers back for free. So we are solving more than 8 problems with just a magical fruit. My team is comprised of scientists, and I'm the managing director with the farmers. Together, we can mine this new green gold, and we can impact it because it is not only facing Rwanda, it is facing Zimbabwe, it is facing Cameroon, it is facing Tanzania, and the technology is cheaper than exporting the oil. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexander. That was very inspiring. And I must admit, I had to look up avocado oil because in Norway, I haven't really known about it, but I understand it's a very healthy and good cooking oil as well. So one question is, when you then have the raw material, as I understand you source from smallholder farmers, how do you decide whether to buy or make oil or cosmetics? So how do you actually optimize your production lines? So that's one question. And the other question I have is that you mentioned in your paper that your products are pesticide free. So my question then is, does that mean that you work actively with the smallholder farmers to make sure that they're growing, etc., is actually without using pesticides and other potentially harming products? So could you please comment on that? Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. We decide on the quantity of the oil we have produced. So every month we produce around 3,000 liters of oil, and we say 60% let it be sold as oil, then 40% of that oil let it be converted into cosmetics, and the cosmetics is sold locally. And the suppliers for themselves, we are already contracted. So all the 1,900 farmers, we have contract, the market is guaranteed, and we are actually trying to scale up the supply, and we can do more with you.
Maybe one last one from me, Alex, actually. The way I see it, actually, I'm pretty sure your margin would not be the same from the cosmetic side and when you're selling almost raw oil, actually. So this is where my surprise comes in, actually. Why don't you then stick to the one that is giving you the bigger margin? I'm just curious.
Yes, thank you so much. You know, as I said, we do not only focus on making money. We want to help our community. Rwanda spends $35 million importing cosmetics, but we have this fruit abundant everywhere. So why should I only make oil just to make money? No. I want to reduce import. I want to solve the hygiene product problem that is in my community. And you know how soap has been saving us during this pandemic. You know how much soap this country is imported? We can make it from this food. Simple as that. So if I focus on oil, then my people will die of COVID because they do not have soap. People will die of personal hygiene because they do not have soap. So it is both. We do not only focus on the profit, we also focus on the impacting and also, changing the community.
Thank you, 𝗪cie 𝗪𝗓𝗓. Wow, amazing pictures this year. The decision to choose only 2 grand prize winners is going to be tough. Now, before we hand over to our judges to do their online scoring, let me close by thanking all of our top 14 finalists once again. You are all so great, and I'm so heartened to see our food future on this continent is in such innovative and entrepreneurial hands. What a range of different types of ventures you've launched. I'm sure all the excellencies and distinguished guests viewing at the AGRF, as well as the millions watching online, are as inspired and as impressed as I am. Let me also say another warm thanks to our judges for the excellent questions, to the Generation Africa partners, to IFAD, and to the AGRF team, and all those who have helped to put this together. Our 5 judges will now score each pitch independently, and the results will be aggregated electronically. The judges will then meet online once more before the winners are announced at the closing gala ceremony of the AGRF, along with the Africa Food Prize. It's been quite a competition this year. Thank you all for watching. Please stay safe, strong, and well, everyone. It's been an honor and a pleasure to meet such an inspiring group of entrepreneurs. The Generation Africa Go-Getters class of 2021. In my eyes, you're all winners. Congratulations and goodbye for now.